So we're taking away no one's rights. We're simply saying, if you have a contract with an architectural firm and they make a mistake, sue the architectural firm. But don't go suing people in their individual capacity when they were in the course and scope of their employment. That explains it.
My name is Warren Husband. I'm with a firm of Metz Husband and Dalton here in town. We represent Associated General Contractors. And regrettably, we do oppose the bill in its current form for some of the reasons mentioned, but I'll just tick off three kind of broad policy questions that the bill kind of poses for you. The first is, as was touched on, as a professional like a doctor, a lawyer, an architect, or an engineer under the current law, you can't insulate yourself from personal liability if you commit some kind of malpractice in the scope of your profession. Now, this bill would single out architects and engineers and allow them to insulate themselves contractually from a certain subset of liability. And I think the question to be posed is, why should architects and engineers have that capacity when other professionals do not?
Rick Watson, ABC of Florida. ABC are commercial contractors. The bill in the present form we oppose. The impact of this bill would be felt on small commercial work and on residential work, where it is changing the immunity law, the tort law, for professionals. Engineers, doctors, lawyers are considered professionals, and they're held to a higher standard of care. It pains me to speak against the bill because normally the contractors and the design professionals work hand in glove. We need them, they need us. But in this instance, we're looking ahead to situations where a project goes bad, and they do occasionally. Everybody gets sued. And you're taking the individual professional who might be responsible for it out of the mix. And we don't think that's good public policy.
Thank you, committee, for hearing this bill. My name is Mike Huey. I represent the Florida Association of American Institute of Architects. I will be honest with you, if the architects had their druthers, you would have a bill here in front of you that would say that architects, their employees would be treated like the other employees on a construction project, where they're not exposed to liability if their contract's in existence. What Senate Bill 286 does, at least, is allow the owners of projects who want to hire architects and engineers for those two parties to have a discussion about this issue going into the contract. It allows at least the design community to know going into the contract whether or not their employees are going to be, their professional employees are going to be at risk, continuing risk, should something go south on the project. And we think that's a good thing. Now, with regard to our contractor friends, because they are friends of ours, and we work side by side with them in construction work. And most all of them we're working side by side with people who are equally educated out of the building trades school at the University of Florida somewhere, as are our architects who graduate from the University of Florida or other colleges. So they're equally educated, if that's supposed to be the test of who should be personally liable or not. But the fact of the matter is, their employees are never at risk under their contracts. They are never at risk. Their subcontractor employees are never at risk for business damages, and this is all this relates to. So at least this bill allows us to address on the front end whether or not that should be the case for architects and engineers.
We're not taking away your rights. What we're saying is, you can sue them. Let's say I'm making up a name, it's ABC Architectural Firm. That's who you hired. If they mess up your house and it's crooked, you got to redo it. You can sue them. Let's hope they have malpractice insurance, and you have your claim. What you can't do is, one of the 10 architects that worked on it, you're going to sue them personally and require them to get their own attorney and have this harassment, is what I think is mostly used for. You still have every claim against the entity that you hired. You just don't have individual personal liability against any employee that worked on the job.
And so without your bill, even though the individuals work for my company, each one would need to carry their own liability insurance in order to protect themselves once they did the work, if they got sued, and my company got sued, and then I got sued personally too. Is that what?
No, Senator Gibson, actually, your concern is what I'm trying to address in the bill. I don't want individual members of the architectural firm to have to worry about being sued personally because they're in the course and scope of their employment. They're working for the company, so the company should be responsible. But what I'm trying to stop is exactly what you just said, so that each individual person who's going to work and doing their job, if they make a mistake, there should be accountability. And the accountability is for the entity that was hired to do the work, but each individual person can't be sued individually. But your rights against who you hired are 100% protected and they're not affected in any way. I just don't think you should get in the habit of suing individual employees who work for a design.
You know, probably like you all, maybe a bunch of you got some notes from different people around the state. And this is one that was moved to me, and it's very consistent with what Senator Negron said about the bill and what it does. And this is from an owner of a company it's a 40-year-old engineering practice. Said been struggling to stay afloat. I think that's probably right in the economic conditions, and he's urging our support. And here's his reasons. He said legal liability is a major concern to any business offering professional services, and the cost of liability insurance, it takes a big bite out of our income. Nevertheless, I accept the risk and the cost as an owner of the business. However, it's unjust to place the professional employees of my business at personal financial risk. This bill allows me to subject to agreement by my client and subject to maintaining adequate liability coverage to protect my employees from personal liability.
I just think the practice of having design professionals worry that in every single case they work on, they can be sued personally, have all of their assets at risk. I don't think that serves any purpose other than to try to give leverage to one side. So, but it should be done through the business, especially when we have a provision that says to everyone, you're looking to the business if there's a problem, and we shouldn't be suing individuals when they're acting in the course and scope of their employment. So thank you, Madam Chair. Again.
Call the roll on the passage of Senate Bill 286. Senator Dieter. Senator Flores.
Yes.
Senator Galvano.
Yes.
Senator Gibson.
Yes.
Senator Legg.
Yes.
Senator Sachs. Senator Sobel.
Yes.
Senator Thrasher.
Yes.
Senator Brannan.
Yes.
And Madam Chair.
Yes. So by your vote, Senate Bill 286 is reported out favorably.
Thank you, Madam.